It started with a simple drive to the grocery store, but Karen's son turned it into a spectacle I'll never forget. I had just parked in my driveway when I noticed him strutting around, barking orders at me like I was his personal servant. "Clean my car," he demanded, waving his phone at me. "And hurry, my friends are watching." At first, I thought he was joking. Then I noticed the smug grin on his face, the way he expected obedience. That's when it clicked. Karen had taught him that entitlement came before respect. Unfortunately for him, he hadn't met someone like me before. I looked him dead in the eye and said, "Nice car, but I don't clean cars for spoiled children." His friends, standing nearby with phones recording, laughed and jeered. "Come on, dude. He's rich, he'll do it," they shouted. He nodded, insisting I follow his orders. That's when I smiled. You see, Karen's son didn't know who he was dealing with. I'm not just some neighbor with money. I'm the local police chief. My badge, my authority, my jurisdiction. All of it meant that I wasn't just refusing his orders. I could legally hold him accountable for harassment, coercion, or even attempted assault if he got out of line. I decided to give him a gentle demonstration. I slowly walked around his car, pretending to inspect it. Every movement was deliberate, every glance calculated. Then I tapped my radio and called my patrol unit for a routine check-in. Within minutes, 2 marked police vehicles rolled into the driveway. Official-looking, lights flashing faintly, enough to intimidate without escalating. The boy froze, his friends went silent, and I leaned against the hood of my car, smiling. "You wanted me to clean your car, right? Here's a friendly reminder. I enforce the law, and law enforcement doesn't clean luxury vehicles for spoiled teenagers." Karen's son tried to argue, tried to wave his phone, tried to insist that I was overreacting. But the minute my badge was visible, his confidence evaporated. He stammered, then ran off, dragging his friends with him. Not a single one stayed behind to witness my coaching session. Of course, Karen eventually appeared, furious, demanding to know why I had involved the police. I calmly explained that her son had been harassing me in my own driveway, that any further attempts could be considered criminal behavior, and that her family needed to understand the limits of entitlement. Karen was stunned. She had raised her son to believe the world owed him everything. And here he was, humbled, embarrassed, and thoroughly exposed in front of his peers. The irony wasn't lost on me. The very attitude she had instilled was now the source of public humiliation. The story spread fast. Neighbors whispered about the day the HOA president's son learned a lesson in authority, accountability, and respect. Even the local news picked up the tale, painting me as the calm, composed figure who turned a potentially chaotic scene into a masterclass in law and order. Karen tried to save face, claiming her son had been joking or testing boundaries. But everyone knew the truth. Her son had been humiliated, the friends had witnessed it, and the neighborhood had learned a simple truth. Entitlement doesn't trump authority, and arrogance always meets its match. From that day on, Karen's son avoided my driveway, avoided my cars, and, most importantly, avoided me. Karen, of course, remained furious but powerless. Every time she glanced my way, I smiled politely, knowing the lesson had stuck. You never underestimate someone who literally enforces the law, and you never demand obedience from someone who can turn your tantrum into a legal teaching moment. And as for me, I went back to my car, cleaned it myself, and enjoyed the quiet satisfaction of knowing that justice had been served. Not with anger, but with authority, calmness, and a little perfectly timed karma.